talking about stock market crash. A very bad word that many YouTubers use to generate clicks. Why? Because negativity is always selling better. And while you are seeing all the headlines and, obviously concerns because of crazy valuations and, upcoming trends and crypto and stocks and EV stocks, specifically, or innovative stocks going to crazy valuations. Is this all normal? Is this a bubble, and will it burst? And if yes, when? Now, let me tell you the good part. Well, the good part is that in this video, you will just get to know why we are not going to crash anytime soon, in my personal opinion, except one point that we will discuss later in this video. And on the negative side, well, there is a bubble, but the question is not if it's one bubble or just small little bubbles that burst from time to time. And this is totally normal. This is the cyclus of the whole economy, right? I mean, we have nice market conditions like cheap money, printing money, going up inflation. All of these things are logically going into, equity rising prices. Okay, this is just like the normal way it is, right? Very logical. On the other hand, there is so many people out there that are talking about market crash because it's easy to predict a market crash because everybody thinks, well, at some point it will crash, and they are right. I mean, every damaged clock that doesn't work anymore is always twice a day right. I mean, look at the watch, and if it stays the point, there's, 1 a.m. and then p.m. time is always right. So the crash gurus out there definitely will be right one day, but the most important part is to be the bull, because we have much more bull markets than bear markets. And then bear markets are actually, much shorter in cycles than bull markets. I mean, the last bull market that we had was over 10 years, right? From the last great financial crisis until about the, health crisis that we had in March. And though the health crisis was like a black swan event, nobody assumed that this will impact so much of our daily life and it will change things forever. Consumer behavior, how we look into health, how we look into hygiene, how we look into, digitalization, globalization, and so on and so forth. So many new topics came out of this crisis and we learned so much. So let's put this now to the side. I believe that there is two things that can lead to a market crash that are a little bit more far away. Well, the one thing is, unpredictable because it's a black swan event, but we will talk about that in a second. First, think about interest rates, okay? And I did the research for you. Obviously, you're just watching this 10 minutes video and should be informed what I researched in a couple of hours. So in 2000, when we talking about the dot-com bubble, we had the same situation. Rising money influx, and then you had this crazy nice story stocks, the internet, everything that had a .com in their name was potentially a huge success. So money flew in, and these bubbles, just got bigger and bigger, though there were only a couple that survived, like Amazon, for example, though they lost, about 30 to 50% market value. So you can imagine what could happen to those stocks that are out there. And some companies, they just disappeared, like for example pets.com. So as you can see, this bubble inflation is always happening pretty much the same. So you have cheap money that is going into the market, which was because of some crisis in the 90s, and then at some point the Federal Reserve said, our economy looks good, so we cut the free flow of money and will rise the interest rate, which, limit the input on the market of money and capital, of cheap capital, and then you have people pulling out their winnings, and basically the market crashes. It can be a 30% crash, a 50%, an 80% crash, nobody knows, because it depends on the size of the bubble, okay? Now let's move forward. What happened then after that? The rates went down, and again, cheap money, and people started to buy real estate, fueled by Alan Greenspan, the back then chairman of the Fed, and he said like, take those flexible rates on your mortgage homes. And then we had like this huge bubble, and everyone wanted to own property because you could have 5 houses with no down payment and free money basically. And the stock market went even on it. The financial world said, okay, how we can build the products around it and even sell the mortgage packages on the mortgages. And it was just like this mania going up, how to make money. And then obviously the rates went up and the bubble bursted, and it was a bigger bubble, so the financial crisis was quite heavy, okay? Now then, about March 2009 we had the bottom, and since then we had one of the longest bull markets ever, except there was one time in 2018 where Jerome Powell said, we might increase the rates. What happened? The market corrected for about 10-20%, which was quite significantly and just proves the concept. So I believe the first part of the concept is the increasing of the rates, which according to Jerome Powell is not to be seen anywhere near in the next 2 or 3 years. So 2 or 3 years, this should be a low risk scenario. Now on the other side, the black swan event. This unfortunately is unpredictable, right? I mean, we are seeing this crazy amount of people going into the market, the taxi drivers asking you which stocks, the other guy, is having a hearing in front of the senators and says, I'm not the cat, and fuel the GameStop mania, and so other crazy stuff is happening on the markets, or negative oil prices, or the Wirecard scandal in Germany. So many interesting stuff is happening. That's why I love the stock market. It's never boring, and this is so beautiful about the stock market. That's why I love to be on the stock market on daily basis together with you. And if you want to join my community as well, then check out x10masterclass.com. You can get access to 100 videos about the stock market, how to find X10 stocks like we found, for example, Tesla or Virgin Galactic, and then also you get lifetime access to our community with other investors where we're talking about all the other stuff on the market. Now, if you want to get access, you will get even 10% off just recently because space is going so well this year, over 100% profit if you invested just in the beginning of January together with me, since I talk almost daily about the stock. So use this discount code and get access to our group. Finally, some thoughts about the Black Swan event. We never know when it comes, and the reasons or the effects are very much unknown until after the event, okay? So, for example, let's take the health crisis. When the health crisis arrived, we never thought, okay, this thing, will be something like SARS or anything other that we experience will be never bigger, right? And then it growed, and we said like, okay, how big can it be, right? I mean, then we had March 2020, hell on earth, basically, on the financial markets, millions and millions of people jobless, and everything is closed. Is it the end of the world? Absolute freaking notly. Absolute freaking notly. So, you can see here that we as humans tend to recover from exactly this kind of crises. So, I'm not worried that a black swan will come, because this will just give us a great opportunity into the market to buy even cheaper, like we had in March. However, the most important thing is long-term investing. Why Warren Buffett is so successful? Because he is doing something very, very hard, which is patient and long-term thinking. And he did it for many, many years, compounded, which gave him then a, pile of cash of a couple of billions of dollars. And he is one of the richest persons on the planet. And if you just add 100th of that success, you can be a billionaire, right? So you can see here the opportunity is fantastic. So don't get washed away through all the negativity on the market. It can come from media, it can come from social media. For you it's important that you understand the mechanics behind it. Yes, there could be sometimes, like we saw now in the last week, this corrections of 10% and a little bit of profit taking, right? There's some little bit concerns about inflation, but still, like Shamas just said in one of his interviews, imagine now you have billions of profits and then you take them out. What do you do with the money? You have then a melting ice cube of a $1 billion problem. And currently, the equity market is the best outcome for your money as return of investment. Anything better, if you're considering the returns, are absolutely insane. I mean, space got 100%. We are talking about Bitcoin had 50% this year already. Tesla had 10%. You know, these numbers are usually annual numbers, right? Though I think that smaller fishes that just are floating upper because of the big success of the big names. Like, I mean, you have Bitcoin and then you have all the altcoins, you have Tesla and then you have all the EV stocks, you have, you know, other stories, and then you have all the small fishes that are just popping up. So it's really, really hard sometimes to navigate, but I really always invest into those that are really having the original story, because those are non-arguably always be the winner of the game. You know, we saw that Apple, you know, was the big successor of the whole music, computer and mobile revolution. And if you would just have invested into the other companies, right, like Nokia, Motorola, maybe HTC and all the other things, then you would not have so much returns like you would have then investing in Apple only. So here it's on the channel to find exactly those stocks like Apple, Netflix, those companies having a consumer product and changing the world. And if you are willing, then join, subscribe, like, and I wish that I see you tomorrow, because tomorrow it's Tesla Sundays, our weekly series about Tesla. Thank you very much for watching and see you tomorrow.